Hello, 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 hello. Good night, good morning, good evening, wherever in the world you are, whether you're in Africa, Asia, North America, South America, Antarctica, Oceanic, wherever in the world you are. Good evening, good morning, good night. Welcome to another segment, another session of HP Chat Track. And of course, I'm your girl HP, and I'll be your host once more. And if you weren't here last week, happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone around the world. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And tonight is about 2025. We are going to recap 2025. Just chit chat a little bit about 2025, some of the high moments, the low moments, the changes, and a lot happened in 2025. Yes, a lot happened. So we're going to discuss them, a little bit of them tonight. I have my good friend Dennis who will be with me. He's from Trinidad and Tobago, so of course we'll be having some good talk, my neighbor from Trinidad and Tobago. But before we get into that, I just want to say welcome each and everyone, and thank you for being here for another Thursday night. I think this is the third Thursday in 2026, in January 2026. The first Thursday was New Year's Day. Then we had last week, which I think was the 8th, and now we're here tonight, the 15th. And before we go any further, I just want to wish my good friend and a retired Jamaican athlete, Giovanni Jarrett. I just want to wish her a happy birthday. Today is Giovanni's birthday. Giovanni, if you're watching, happy birthday to you. Welcome, Josiah. Welcome everyone around the world. Country living, welcome if you are also watching. I just want to remind you guys that the fundraising for STETS, for St. Elizabeth Technical, it continues. So please remember to make your donation. Make your donation through the GoFundMe, or get in touch with the Association for Jamaican Olympians in Jamaica. Get in touch with them, or make your contribution. The National Association of Jamaican Olympians. Please to get in touch with them and make your contribution for St. Elizabeth Technical. Of course, they're trying to repair the dormitories of the roof of the girls' dorm in St. Elizabeth. It was damaged by Hurricane Melissa, and we're trying to get it up and running. So please remember to make your donation. I'm seeing Vonnie M. Vonnie M, welcome. 1972 Olympian for Jamaica is in the house with us. Welcome, Vonnie M. Another announcement I just want to share with you is that HP Track World and Friends of Jamaica Track and Field, we are collaborating to do a fundraising to help struggling athletes, to help athletes from the what we would call the less fortunate schools. So please, guys, we have a raffle going on and we need your help. The ticket is just $5 per ticket. So please to get in touch with me to to buy your batch of tickets. Yes, your batch of tickets, meaning more than one. Please get in touch with me and purchase some tickets from us. It's just $5 per ticket. And this is in aid of a breakfast program for athletes in the less fortunate schools, and also to help struggling athletes, sports teams, and sports programs in the school. And it is for track and field. So please hit me up to get your raffle tickets. And as I said before, it is just $5 per ticket, and I'm selling by the batch. I'm just kidding. If you want to buy one, it's fine. If you want to buy two, but please remember to buy your ticket. And here we have the birthday girl is in the building. Giovanni Jarrett, a former long jumper for Jamaica, one of the best that we've seen on the runway for Russie's High School, St. Jago High School, Auburn University, and also Jamaica. Happy birthday, Giovanni. I hope you will hang out with us even though it is your birthday. But guys, before we go any further, I just want to wish you a happy new year again. And you can also share your comments on, your moments for 2025, and we will discuss them. Of course, I include my audience so we can talk about them. And also there is a link if you want to jump on and join us on the space if you want to share your thoughts. But don't go anywhere. We will be right back. I just have one message for you. Don't go.
Jamaica's track and field legacy is unmatched. It is a story of triumph, resilience, and extraordinary talent. But do you know the stories behind the athletes who brought us glory? Hi, I'm HP, founder of HP Chat Track. My mission is simple: to celebrate the rich legacy of Jamaica track and field and shine a light on the incredible people who make it happen. Winning that race was a dream come true, but the journey wasn't easy. It's not just about medals, it's about inspiring the next generation. Jamaica track and field isn't just a sport, it's our pride, our culture, our heart. Every week I sit down with athletes, coaches and fans to bring you stories of dedication, passion and legacy. Plus, we've got exciting news and exclusive insights into the world of track and field. Make your Thursday night be at HP's place. Come hang out with us at HP Chat Track Studio, where track and field is our business. Jamaica, one people, one legacy.
Hey. Welcome back. We are back with you. Hey, Dennis, how are you? Happy New Year, my friend
Happy
from
New Year to you and, of course, all your screaming fans. Good evening and good night from Trinidad and Tobago.
Awesome. Thank you. And here we have it, guys. Our neighbor from Trinidad and Tobago. I just want to tell you a little bit about Dennis. Dennis Tay Allen, he is an independent photographer, yes, and also a videographer, multimedia content developer, and social media and events marketing consultant. Wow, that is a big title, Dennis, but I love it. I love it.
Yeah, that's the short version.
That's a short version.
That's the
I
short version.
I I love it. Dennis is also he's also a journalist, a writer, and he runs the TT Game Plan sports news service across all social media platforms. So, guys, please go and check out Dennis and give him some love by following him. But my neighbor and I were here tonight to talk about the year that was, and that is 2025. Dennis, a lot has happened.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
lot
yeah.
has happened in 25, both for your country, my country, and track and field in general. So tonight is all about us. Just we won't be able to talk about everything, but I will throw some of my noted points out, and you will throw some of yours out, and we will chat a little bit. So, Dennis, because you're the guest, and my grandmother told me that when you have guests in your house, you serve them first and then you afterwards. So, Dennis, I'm going to give you the opportunity to hit me with the first one. Who knows? Maybe I'll have it on my list and we can talk about it a little bit.
Well, thank you for the privilege. And of course, if you have to start, just the same way every Jamaican song clash, you always start with your big tunes. The biggest thing for Trinidad and Tobago track and field, of course, was the triumphant return of Kishon Walker to the top of
Yes.
the podium.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that, you know, his coach, Ishmael Mastrapa, very early in his career, he said, every athlete, you have 3 or 4 Olympics, 3 or 4 world championships, 3 or 4 Pan Ams. And in our case, we also have 3 or 4 Commonwealth Games. So you start with the first win, you know, at the Olympics. You kind of set a very high standard for yourself. So when Kishon Walker won in 2012, you know, the the expectation was this, well, this is a generational talent or it's a fluke. But over the years, I think injuries plagued him, and until finally, he was hobbling off of the field, got surgery. Nobody nobody was betting that Kishon Walker could come back, but here he is. And the funny thing is, I don't think I've seen him look better. I see him often. I see him in the mornings at the Crawford Stadium training, and to see this guy train is really a classroom in movement mechanics and patience and just raw strength and ability. So seeing that comeback, that grace under pressure to make it happen, and that amount of self-belief, it was amazing. So hats off to Kishon. Of course, there are some other Trinidad and Tobagonians who made it big on the world stage, but I mean, top of the podium, can't get better than that.
I totally agree with you. I have to give a shout out to him also because when I saw him at the World Championship, I was like, okay, Kishan is here. But when he won, somebody said to me that here is Trinidad winning a surprise gold medal. And I said to him, I said, clearly you have not been watching. This young man won the gold medal at the London Olympic Games in 2012, and I had to send them back to go and do their research to know exactly who he is. But I have to say, his key winning reminds me of Daniel Williams when Daniel won that title. Daniel Williams from Jamaica, when she won that title and came back 9 years after winning, in Budapest. I was like, wow, you cannot rule out a champion. You can't. You can't.
Yeah,
You can't.
yeah,
And
and
go ahead.
just to add one last point to that, you know, he never lost his belief. Huh?
Mhm.
He competed hurt for many years. And it's not like if he was on the scrap heap. He always had top, if not top 20, top 12, top 10
Mhm.
performances. So
Yeah.
going into the Tokyo Olympics, not Tokyo Olympics, into the Paris Olympics, he also had a very high rating. So he was always very close, and he himself said, you never know what you're going to do. There's so many
Mhm.
moving parts. It's so technical. Sometimes we take it for granted that, okay, the world record is this, he's thrown this, his personal record. On the day, so many things could go wrong, and it often does. So, but
Indeed,
when you get
indeed.
right on that one throw, bang.
And while we're on the World Championship, we'll just stay there until we're finished because that wasn't the only big thing for Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, Jareem is just he is just a
Yeah,
superstar.
Jareem
I'm
is,
going to be honest with you. I did not see that silver medal coming for him,
you
but
know,
he worked for it.
the thing is, I do a show every Friday morning with Antigua Observer FM, and we had a show the Friday before the championships, and they were asking me, "What do you think?" And I said, once Jareem has a lane, don't count him
Yes,
out.
yes,
You
that's
know,
true. Yeah.
And people will always say, "Yes, Dennis, you have on these Trini goggles. Everything is Trini. Everything is red, white, and black for you." And I try to keep it positive, but I also keep it real. And if Dream did not have a chance, so of course in your introduction you would have mentioned my photography. So
Hmm.
at Open Champs last year, I I was trying to get some new angles, and I was in the moat in the Hazel Crawford Stadium. Around the track, there's a moat, right? So it's like about 5 feet, 5.5 feet from the surface of the track. So I'm there and I'm with my lens and I'm trying to get like the absolute lowest possible angle. And I kid you not, I have photos of Jareem about 2 feet off of the air. He's just flying, flying. He's floating. And it was so effortless. I said, and that was at Open Champs. I said, if he runs like that with somebody in the right lane and with somebody pushing him, he's gonna get a medal. And that
Yeah.
was that was just what it is. The guy is unbelievably motivated,
Yes.
and he had a recent birthday. So massive shout out to Jareem. I'm gonna chop this up and put it. I'm a huge fanboy. Jareem 10.5 size. I just telling you, size 10.5 US pence. But he's do these shoe giveaways every so often.
Awesome.
Um,
Awesome. Awesome.
but that guy,
I met Jareem in May at the Grand Slam series in Miami, and he was just bursting with confidence. He was feeling good. He was having fun. And I said to self, I think he is going to Tokyo to do whatever it takes to get on that podium. And he did. I think he was what, in lane two?
yeah, he had a very tight lane,
Yeah, he
very,
had
very,
a
very tight.
very, very tight lane, and winning a silver medal from such a tight lane, it is just brilliant. So shout out to my people in Trinidad and Tobago. Big, big congrats on your achievement at the World Championship. But let us just jump on to Jamaica now. Jamaica know what to do. That Quinella in the 100-meter for the men. Did you see that coming?
Of course,
Oblique,
of course, of
Kishin?
course. I didn't think anybody would have beaten Kishan. Kishan. If you listen to all the critics, Kishan has a reputation of getting hurt in big races, um, and Oblique has a reputation of not showing up for the big races. But I mean, these two guys really put it on the table, and they shattered all these expectations. Um, and for that reason, I'm really looking forward to seeing what I mean. Jamaican men's sprinting had gotten a knock, like if they, people lost respect for them. People felt like, all right, it's back to the USA, and I mean, those guys showed up, man.
Indeed, they did indeed, and it was as a Jamaican, I can tell you it was a beauty to see that 1-2. But you know what I want to ask you, Dennis? Jamaica has dominated the men and women 100 meters. From the women have dominated from 2007 to 2022. Between all those championships, Jamaica won about eight or so from 2007 to 2021, both the World Championships and the Olympic Games. America got two in with Carmelita Jetta winning
Carmelita, yeah.
2011 and Tori Bowie winning
Mhm. God
2017.
rest her soul, yeah.
Yes, may her soul rest in peace. The men dominated from 2008 to 2016. Do you think we will see this anytime soon where a set of athletes or one country dominating for such a long period? Because for the Jamaican women, it was Veronica Campbell Brown, Shelley and Fraser Price, and Elaine Thompson. For the men, it was Usain Bolt and Johan Blake. Do you think we will see this again anytime soon where one set of athletes or one country dominating the 100-meter for such a long stretch?
What I can say is that early period, you're talking about 2007 up until Rio Olympics, 2016. That period of time, Jamaica had basically two track clubs. There were others, but it was Racers MVP, and I keep telling people that all of those gold medals were won by people who were running within maybe about 2 square miles, right? So when now you look at the reality of maybe I think it's about a dozen clubs now, all professional clubs, professionally run. Two things, in my opinion, from an outsider looking in, uh, two things are happening. One, it's diluting the talent pool. So now it's not as difficult to get a ride with a Nike full backing, Adidas full backing, Puma full backing. There are more pieces in place, but I don't think that all of the clubs have the same quality, not at coaching level. I think anybody can have uh, they have access to the technical and the scientific data that will produce a top quality sprinter. But what about the physio? Look at Usain Bolt, scoliosis, huge guy, very specific needs as an athlete. Yet, he was managed in a way. Then what happened? You talked about Johan. When he got injured, what took place? Did he make that comeback? Usain didn't have that kind of uh, injury, but he had. It's like you're driving an old car versus you're driving a brand new car. So the brand new car, you might have to just top up with your fluids and make sure your tires don't run flat on you. But when you're driving an old car, meaning you're driving something with more issues, you need to have people who could fix those things in a timely way before it shuts down on the highway.
Yes.
To me, right now, what I'm seeing in Jamaica is too much dissent. There's a separation between National Association goals and track club coaches' goals. And in between, there are athletes who are walking a very thin line. We're talking about sprinting. The legacy in Jamaica is I mean, I think anybody would be happy to go to spend a 3 or 4 months in a training camp alongside any of these athletes that we're talking about here. The coaching is amazing. The systems are amazing. You're running next to somebody with a world championship medal, a Tokyo medal, a Paris medal, uh, a world record, or age group world. That is every single day in Kingston. When you look at where else you can get that in the world of track and field, it's very few places.
True.
Um, so to say that the system is broken, no, I think the system in Jamaica is stretched too thinly, too many conflicting goals, and too many people are trying to unseat Frano and Mills without the toolkit to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Too much, like this name of this thing, chop
I
chop,
think I think it
too
is
much old
more,
talk.
Dennis, I think it is more motivation. They're motivated to be a part of this and to be successful. A person
Yeah,
have a business and they're doing well, you're saying to yourself, maybe I can do that too. But as you rightfully said, is do they have the system? Everybody's system is different. But I'm going to read a comment. I want to say good night to everyone. Welcome, welcome. Tonight is all about recapping 2025 in track and field world. And I see Michelle Hill, of course. Let me read Michelle's comment. Michelle Hill is saying, oh, welcome, Monica Lewis. I want to welcome Monica Lewis. Welcome, Objectivity. Haven't seen you in a while. Welcome, Michelle Hill. No, it's not Michelle. I'm sorry. Michael Hill. I'm so sorry. Michael Hill is saying Walcott performance 12 years after his first global medal is a lesson in perseverance, dedication, and class. No doubt. No
True.
doubt. Thank you very much for that, Michael. I'm sorry about the name mix up there. Yvonne Tate, Jamaican Olympian, 1988 Olympian, is in the building. She's saying good night, HP and guest. Objectivity is saying there is about 40% possibility that our young women could dominate again, depending on how 2028 goes. And I want to agree with that. But my problem with 2028 is that 2028, we are going to see 4 rounds of 100-meter for men and women on one day. So you have to run 4 rounds of 100-meter in one day. What quality, and I do have that on my list to get to, but what quality of race are we going to get? And we are going to go to that. But I agree with you, objectivity. Jamaica, we have a group of young women. I was doing some checks just recently with some of my peers, and when we look at the list, no, you only need three. Only three can make the cut. And we have between 6 and 10 young junior athletes that left school between 2022 and recently who are getting themselves ready. By 2028, these young ladies will be between age 20 and maybe 23. We're talking about the likes of Brianna Liston. We're talking about the Clayton twins. We're talking about Alana Reed. We're talking about Kerika Hill. We're talking about Kevona Davis. We're talking about all these young women. And I'm still going to throw Elaine and Sharika into that party. How it will
You can't
unfold,
avoid that. You can't avoid that at
can't
all.
avoid that. Can't avoid that. Your thoughts, Dennis?
Um, on the women's side, Jamaica has a very bright and promising future. I would also want to throw in Brianna back into that mix there. You know, the right
Yes.
of Bri is,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's run here in Trinidad and Tobago. Like at one point in time, you could have swear she was a Trini, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so I would really love to see her get it all back together and get back to where
Yes.
she deserves to be.
Mm-hmm.
She's an amazing young talent. She's an amazing young woman. So really looking forward to that. But Jamaica has amazing depth.
Yep.
The depth is
Yeah.
it is remarkable. Like there are continents without that many
Mm-hmm.
sub-11 sprinters, right? So when you start to think about what the implications are, you know, um, once again, it makes it too easy. When it was just Frano and Mills you're dealing with, you know what you're getting. They are resolute, they are 100% there for their athletes. Now you have to have 4 or 5, 6 people into that room. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know that that gives the athletes the strength in the bargaining position or if it gives the association the strength. Also, the other very important part of the mix is the the money. Where is the
Yeah.
money coming from? The money is coming from Nike, Adidas, and
Puma.
Puma,
Mm-hmm.
right? Puma is the national federation, the national association sponsor. It's the Olympic Association sponsor in Jamaica. Same here in Trinidad and Tobago. And it means that there is no competition. You're not trying to bargain.
Yeah.
How do you get more when you have more? You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, we cut that deal 4 years ago.
Yeah.
We're not going to add on anything, you know? So for me, what I see is talent is never the problem here in the West Indies. The Caribbean is loaded, loaded,
Yes, it's
loaded,
the
loaded.
resources to get them ready.
The technical, because I
Yes.
always say, there's fast, faster, and fastest. Fast is talent. Faster is coaching. Fastest is science. Do we have the right science, the measurement, and all of the strength and conditioning? Yes, Jamaica has been producing that. We know, we see it, but to me, there's a level of data-driven analysis, especially corrective. I looked at the races this weekend. What was JC
Jamaica
developmental,
College, yes.
right?
Hmm.
And I looked at some of the very top, very fast men and women athletes, and I see so many technical issues that, in my opinion, and remember, like I said, I am a photographer, so I see all the things. When I see that happening, it tells me that there are people who are not paying enough attention to the specific needs of an athlete, because you will win and you will win until you cannot get any faster because you're slowed down by improper technique, bad recovery,
Nutrition.
nutrition, diet. This is my son. There he goes. You want to say hello?
Hi.
He's a future track star.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So when we get to a point where you have so many choices, it starts to affect how you look at development, because you keep thinking, well, if you play the fool, I got her,
Yes,
I got
yeah.
him.
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
got, I got, I got options.
Yes,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? So
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
when you start hearing people talking about their options, it means that the people who have created that legacy, the people who have kept themselves at that top level, are no longer, they're sometimes seen as surplus to requirements. And in a situation where there is insufficient resources to go around, insufficient opportunities, and only 3 lanes for Jamaican women, 3 lanes for Jamaican men, you got a dozen sub 11. That means somebody's gonna
Yeah.
feel out
It
like an outsider looking in.
yeah.
How do you
But
treat with that?
by the time we get to LA 2028, I don't know. As you said, 3 lanes is all we will get. 3 lanes is all. It's what any country will get. And I am hoping that some of these young athletes will, because in the Caribbean, our 200 meters struggle a lot. When you look at the 200 meters, it struggles, not just Jamaica, but right across. They're either running 100 or 400. We might find one or two in the 200, but what I've realized is that a lot of athletes are not doubling anymore. The sprint double is not a thing like before. I mean, we had people like Usain Bolt who did it. He kept it alive for Jamaica. Johan Blake did it. Veronica Campbell Brown did it. Elaine, Karen Stewart, Sharon Simpson, Aileen Bailey, a few would have done it. But as it is right now, when you look around, we don't have a lot of doubles.
That's true.
We don't
And
have
when
a
you
lot of
add in
doubles.
and when you added Atto Bolden and his generation,
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
was almost like, you had to do it
You had to
to
do
to, to
it.
create that
Yeah, the
space for
Frankie
yourself.
Frederick and all those guys, the Carl Lewis, all those guys, Merlin Otti. Dublin was a thing for sprinters, but not in this new era.
But look at something. There are Diamond League events that don't have a 200.
Yeah.
What does it tell you? It means that even at the highest level, uh, the sport in today's media market is being reevaluated by people,
Mm-hmm.
sponsors, advertisers, broadcasters. All of those things, those economies are shrinking, right? Uh, Within the last week, here in Trinidad and Tobago, one of our daily newspapers went out of the print publication business. The Newsday, 32-year-old newspaper, stopped printing. So they have an online edition. So what does it mean? It means that they didn't have enough money to survive with their business model. What happens when that happens? You got to cut something. So when you're an athlete and you're thinking, okay, I'm doing this, I am in a competitive pool for 100 meter, 200 meter. Sometimes people always have also have a 200, 400. When they start to think, okay, what am I going to get if I get a double? For the Olympics, it doesn't really mean anything. For a few countries,
Well, it means that what you get for a double, it means that if you win a double at the Olympic Games or the World Championship, it increases you're able to negotiate. It increase your earning powers, because when you look at Elaine Thompson Hero, who she's the only woman to have done it at the Olympic level, winning the double and winning it back to back. No other female athlete has done that. And I heard somebody said something recently. It was Otto who said that he thinks that Elaine maybe overestimate her value. And the question I want to ask you, Dennis, how do we value, how do we measure an athlete's value? How is that measured?
look at something here, right? Let's look at the American side, right? There's a guy, he's claiming to be the fastest man in the world, right? He's What does it mean? You're
Yeah.
the fastest person in the world, but you're winning by thousandths of a second, right? His race against I Choose Speed possibly could have earned him more money than winning uh, a 100 meters with a world champion, with now world champion, a world record, right? So if you look at it from that point of view, $100,000 for a world record that you
Mm-hmm.
get from World Athletics. If you build your YouTube, social media, your TikTok, you could get 100 meters in a race with some guy who's run like this. Think about it. What does it say? It means that for the amount of time that you would have spent to get to there, if you had played 1 week of football in the EPL, you would have, with a top five team, you would have gotten that in 1 day.
In one day.
If you had played in the NBA, you would have gotten that in about 5 minutes. If you had played hockey, you would have probably gotten that in 10 minutes. If you
Why
had
is
played
track and
baseball,
field? Why is track and field so poor? But while you think about that answer, let us just get in some
of
comments.
course.
Alan the Game 01 is saying the twins and Brianna Liston have an opportunity to become the new big three. And I totally agree with that over the next Olympic Games. I do agree with that. And he's saying, here she's saying, Sharika needs to manage herself well to be able to even get into to get that 200-meter Olympic title. I can tell you that LA 2028 is not going to be normal. Objectivity is saying Frano will have the 4 rounds figured out. Okay, no problem there. Someone he also mentioned Sabrina Dockery, right? Sabrina Dockery is another young Jamaican, bright future in the sport. Alan the game is all in the game is saying gotta talk more about this whole new generation of TNT female sprinting coming through. Leah Bertram, Alexis Henry, the Frederick twins, and so forth. And yep, TNT does have a bunch of young athletes there also. Jamaican Olympian Dorothy Scott Genius is saying good night. She's also in the building. First Jamaican woman to get to a long jump final at the Olympic Games. Fabiti is saying Happy New Year, guys. Thank you very much. Audrey Davia is saying it's only the women who will be running their races in one day. Audrey, I read something that says the women will run on day one and the men will run on day two. All 4 rounds for the women on day one, all 4 rounds for the women, for the men on day two. But if I'm wrong about that, I stand corrected. But I was doing some research just a day ago and it says the men will also run theirs on day two. And the first question that comes to my mind, what quality final will we get? And the comments keep coming in. Welcome each and everyone. Donia Ray saying good night, HP, your guests and viewers and everyone. Thank you all for being with us. But going back to you, Dennis, why is track and field so poor?
It starts at the head, right? You had I remember one time Atto and Maurice Green in Monaco. They were driving down the same street that the F1 cars race, and they were in Ferraris. Okay? When you have that kind of spectacle, when you pay that kind of respect to the athletes that you want to build your event around, what tends to happen is that the audience starts to see the celebration before the race even starts. This is not a knock on Sebastian Coe, but I always call it Seb and
Mm-hmm.
Co, because he is leading an executive that has downgraded just about everything. They've cut the Diamond League to
Mm-hmm.
a 90-minute program.
Yeah.
They've cut they dropped some of the events. Then now this LA is supposed to be a kind of reset. The last time it was in LA was in 1984. I was a young teenager then. I remember, I mean, you see the guy in the space suit flying around LA Coliseum. You know what I mean? This is kind of crazy stuff. And then when you go there, you're seeing women lining up, and half of them, knock on wood, it doesn't happen, but half of them going to be pulling up with busted hamstrings.
Yes, yes, indeed, indeed, indeed. All in the game.
Sprinting
Thank
is
you.
violent
It
against your
is,
body.
it is,
It's
it is, it
violent.
is, it is, it is, it is.
You
Believe
cannot
me.
recover in
Yeah,
that short space of time. It's
yeah.
just not possible.
Hmm.
And if you say, okay, all right, I run around and then I ice down and I massage your body, the neurological system, right? Your nervous system in your body is going to detune. For you to get back up there, you have to go and warm up in another. It's just not possible.
Yeah,
There isn't enough time in between races to come back down and then get back up. It just won't have enough time. So what are you going to do? You're going to risk it for the biscuit? What is the biscuit?
it would, it
150,000
is,
US dollars?
it is
For
going to be
what?
very interesting, and I hope I'll be here for it. All in the game. Thank you very much. All in the game is saying the men's race will not have all 4 rounds. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that. But let us just go back to the World Championship a little bit. The
Sure.
400 meters, where the 400-meter is now for men and women. I saw someone mention Shawnee Miller-Weibo and Steve Gardner. Um, will the Caribbean be able to match what is out there now? Women running 47, men running 43 low. Can the Caribbean get back into that rhythm?
Um. Now, you just saw my son. He's been in a track club. This is his fourth year. Here in Trinidad and Tobago, athletes hate the 400. That's why you don't see them, especially girls. They didn't want to hear that. You didn't go and do that. You
Yeah.
know, it's and you think about sprinting as just raw speed, right? The work that you have to do to win a 400-meter medal in a world class event right now is insane. The competition that you have with on the women's side, the men's side. Look, we spoke with Rye on our show in early December, was it? No, in November. And Ryan's talking about he's going to run the flat 400, right?
Yeah.
So here you have the already thick pool coming in with some more people who's going to just take a dip and see what's up and
Yeah.
obliterate a lot of people's dreams,
No,
right?
nobody wants to run the 400. The 400 is,
It's that's some, listen, seeing how these kids train, right? Seeing how, like I've said, I've seen Dream train, the level. And before that, we had Dion Lender, Jah Love, rest his soul as well. Um, when when you see these athletes, these very unique human beings getting prepared for a 400-meter, the kind of edge that they have to put themselves on, it's like a cliff, so if it doesn't pay off
yeah.
mentally, spiritually, that core factor of hope, once you pull that rug from out of under them, if you don't win a lane in the Olympics or the World Championships, where are you as an athlete?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right? If you don't win a medal when you get to lane, you see yourself as a failure. The world, the reporting, the media sees and presents you as you
Yes.
just fail
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You
psychologically.
fail to advance. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
When I report, I always say did not advance, right?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
stay away from
Yeah.
words like failed
Yeah,
or
the athletes don't
no.
like to the athletes don't like to hear that fail to advance or fail to advance again, that kind of thing. But let us talk about Shelley and Fraser Price at age 38,
Amazing.
making another global final. Age 38, just a few months from age 39.
Listen, I've been to Jamaica. My sister and brother-in-law live in Jamaica, and Um, I've been to Jamaica, I think about 12 times in all. I've spent quite a lot of time in and around Kingston, and I've driven past Waterhouse. Coming from where Shelley came from, coming from where Elaine came from, to stride the steps that they have reached, to do it just once
Yeah.
is an inspiring story. But to do it so consistently well over such a long period of time, I'm turning 55 in a couple of weeks. So I can tell you what getting old feels like. Shelly did not look old
Yeah.
last year.
Mm-hmm.
Shelly looked like, okay, I'm doing this because I have other things that I can focus my mind on that are pressing. She has a lot of mommy's races in her son's school to go and win now.
Mm-hmm.
All of that PTA money is going to be lining up for her. But the reality of it is, even when you're the greatest, Michael Jordan retired, right? Everybody, there's going to be a day you come up and you say, not today. And that's the end of that.
Yes.
And what I saw with Shelly last season was an athlete who was so grateful for for having been given the opportunity to do it so well for so long and represent the proud people of Jamaica for such a high level, class, class. And you saw that love from the people out there. You saw internationally is an icon, you know what I mean? If we have to put up a Mount Rushmore, she's gonna be there, you know what I mean?
Yes. No doubt. No doubt.
Global, not just Jamaica, that's global, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But what is next for her is a question that I am sure she's been asking herself for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
Then you'll flip that now and look at Elaine, right? Elaine said, I don't know if she said it, but it seems as though she said, I'm not ready to do that yet, right? I'm coming back. Sharika, who we mentioned earlier on, Sharika still has something to prove. I don't think that Shelly had anything to prove. I don't even think she had something to prove last year. But she
Yeah.
came and she put her on the line, she put it in bold, and she make it in 72.5 lead headline. I am Shirley Ann Fraser Price, and you will respect me. You know what I mean?
Indeed,
But
indeed, indeed.
amazing. So many of our races we've seen, and for a lot of younger audience now, you can go online and you can dig it up, and you go on you use your deep seek, and you can find all of those links to every single thing that has ever been out there. But
Yes,
you will never get the same feeling as somebody who's a true fan watching it happen live, or watching it happen in real time. You would never get that feeling. Oh no, my pause reason. That woman, and I always, and although my brand is Rep 868, I have another brand called Team Tada, which is just recognizing Caribbean athlete excellence. Shelly is the definitive Team Tada athlete. Classy, respectable, and just unstoppably awesome.
indeed, indeed. An icon, Jamaican icon, a Caribbean
Beautiful.
icon. Indeed, indeed. Let us talk about a World Athletics Award, Athlete of the Year. And the reason why I want to talk about this award is that Melissa Jefferson was left off the final list. She wasn't among the finalists for the award. Now, let us talk about Melissa Jefferson a little bit. In 2025, Melissa Jefferson won triple gold medal at the World Championship. One of them in record time, championship record. So she won three gold medals and she got a championship record. The championship record that she got is not one of the easiest to get, the 100 meters. Okay, 10.61. She ran 10.65 at her national championship, right? She ran 10.66 at the Diamond League. She ran 10.73 at the Grand Slam in Philadelphia. She ran 10.75 at the Grand Slam in Miami and Prefontaine. Now, I am trying to figure out why this young lady would have been left off the final list. Your thoughts on that?
If her name was Shakari, she just needed to do half of that.
But
American
why? But
media,
why?
American media, and this is mainstream American media, is only about selling the story they can sell. So they build up, build up, build up, build up, build up this story, these narratives, and they put this thing out there with all of the psychology, with all of the algorithms, and they back it and they back it and they pack you into a corner. And then when it doesn't happen, there's no plan B. There is no pivot. There is no pump fake and let's just shoot. There's nothing else. So Melissa Jefferson wouldn't.
Wouldn't
She
right?
came
Yes.
right. She came in, enough respect to the man who married the woman. That's all. Enough respect. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes. I totally agree.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Melissa has come in into a narrative where for a lot of American mainstream, they don't know how to fit that into the story of the underdog of a Shakari Richardson. They don't know that they weren't prepared to let go of that. And then on the other side of it, the athlete who actually won the award, you have Sydney McLaughlin,
Mm-hmm.
Lavion.
Mm-hmm.
When you see a Sid, the overwhelming shine is there. She's a nice girl, she's well spoken, she is, she's got her religious point of view, and she always leads with a very polished presentation. When you start to see on the opposite side with your Shakari underdog, gritty, tattered up, using swear words, and then on the other side you have Sid. Where does where does Melissa fit in? And I don't think she did enough.
Her body of work should have spoken for her. Her
And
body
when
of
it
work.
doesn't, where's the advocacy? who is going to step up to the plate to say this woman is the. If she was in Jamaica, you can imagine a Fran or a Mills or anybody
But
in the
I
Jamaica
don't
track and field
see
not
I
batting for her.
But Dennis,
Crazy, right?
I don't
Mm.
see how you can win three gold medal at a global championship, win a championship record, run so many impressive sub 11 within a
And get it
season,
good.
and you're not even considered for the final list,
Your
for
name
the
no
top
call. That's so
list.
crazy, right? Yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah.
that did not sit well with
It
me,
did
and
not. It
and
did
I
not.
read a lot of comments, and a lot of people had something to say about it. It just did not
But
make
why do you think it
sense.
happened?
I don't know, Dennis. I don't know, and that's
Put
the question.
yourself out there. So that's the thing. I just
I'm going to
couldn't
be
get it.
honest
And
with you. I have not seen anybody winning triple gold at a global championship and not get athlete of the year and not even considered for the top list. Now, I'm not saying Sydney did not deserve it, because I'm not disputing who won. What I'm disputing is why Melissa Jefferson wouldn't. Why is it that she did not make the final list? When
it's
it came
amazing.
down to the top two or the top three, why was that young lady the work that she practically carried the 100 meters all season?
Yes.
She practically carried the event all by herself, because every time she went on the track, people were saying, okay, let's see what time she's going to run. And I am a Jamaican, but I have to give her flowers. When Shelly
Yeah,
Ann
for
was
sure.
doing it, when Veronica was doing it, and all the Jamaican, I gave them their flowers. So she deserved to get some recognition, not because she's not Jamaican or she's not Caribbean, but she did the work.
Yes, I
She
agree.
put in the work, and everywhere she went, she delivered, and she was not considered for the top list, and it broke my heart.
And she didn't get arrested. Excuse. Yeah. And
Oh,
it's
Dennis.
I don't know. They always talk about the good girls finish last, or is it good boys?
Yeah, the good people
The
just
good
don't.
people.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I
yeah.
think that in in today's media market, and when you look at so many of the decisions that Seb and Co have put out there, you see that what is leading their conversation and their policy making has always been the likes, who clicking who and what the
Yes.
data is showing. And I just don't think that Melissa has done enough of that side of it. Like TT Terry, if she had done half of that, you know,
You know what I
if
noticed,
Mhm.
Dennis? I noticed that it is no longer, your body of work is not so important anymore.
You see
I,
the in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, the work was being done for you by the mainstream media. Now there is no such thing anymore, right? Now you have to do it, right? If you look at in tennis, Naomi Osaka, you know, if you look at how she's built her career, the tennis is probably not even secondary, maybe like fifth on the list. And her fans have grown along with that. If you look at Shikari doesn't post often her Instagram. She doesn't. She breaks all the rules, but she has a lot of loyal followers. There are advocates pushing her name and pressing that button for her. I just think that in today's media market, if you're not doing the right things, or you're not doing enough of the spectacularly wrong things, you're just going to get lost in the mix. You know, you where's Melissa's money coming from? Where's her, where are her, a long time they used to say, where's the Wheaties box? Where are the, where are the building wraps? Where are the morning show invitations? Where are the late night show invitations? And if you're not part of that, you, they have
It's all
one
about the hype.
opportunity
It's
every
all
day
it's
to get
hype.
somebody to click.
Yeah,
And I don't think
it's
Melissa
hype.
is getting them
It's
those
hype.
clicks.
It's hype. Your body of work doesn't mean anything if you're not hype on the wrong
Nothing at
side
all.
or the wrong side. And it is just unfortunate. But there's no way what she did. I've seen people win one gold medal and win the World Athletics Award. One gold medal. And
Yeah,
she
I agree
won
with you.
and she won three and a championship record. That record has been broken in the last three world championships. Shelly Ann broke it 2022 in Eugene. Shakari broke it in Budapest. And here we are again.
You know something too? Did you see the race where she ran on a football field with 50 other kids, 50 other
Yes,
boys?
I saw it. Yeah.
That did not help. That did not help her. She won
But
by a
that
lean, you
but
know?
but that has nothing to do, because I went and I read the rules of world athletics. How do you get nominated? And it says whatever you have done impressively within the season. That was
Yeah,
what
I
I
agree.
read. And if you are going to tell me that what Melissa Jefferson Wooden did season 2025 wasn't impressive enough to get her on that final list, I don't know what is impressive.
I want to see the transcripts of the conversations in that room making those decisions.
Yeah,
Because
I would
I
love.
couldn't get it either. I'm like, wow, they're really hating on this girl, boy.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I think she deserved to even be on that final list, the top two or top three. And All in the Game is also talking about Beatrice Chibet. Beatrice Chibet wasn't even mentioned. I don't know. I don't know. But let's move on.
Sure.
Let's move on to the next thing on the list is the Grand Slam Track Series 2025.
Whew.
2025.
HP, if I gave you $30 million, I don't know, boy. Great intentions, but from day one, and you could go back and see anything that I've said on this. From day one, the business model did not make any sense whatsoever.
Explain to me why it didn't make any sense, Dennis.
All right, so I just spent quite a few minutes talking about mainstream media versus social media driven media. When you have a, a series, you're calling it Grand Slam Track, right? And it's supposed to be like a series, a league almost. And it's supposed to rival what World Athletics is doing, what Diamond League is doing, what everybody else is doing with the World Continental Tour, what NACAC is doing with their NACAC series, everything. It's supposed to be better than all of those things. That's what it is on paper. You're going into a room and you're talking to multi-millionaires, billionaires, you're talking to them and you're saying, this is the new standard of track and field. And then what you say is, I'm going to lead this by paying the athletes to do more. Okay? I'm paying them more, like multitudes more, multiples, disproportionately more than they would have gotten anywhere else. My first thing is, why do you need to do that? If I'm a businessman, I'm asking you, wouldn't they run anyway? Why not just pay them what they are accustomed getting paid? Why do I have to pay uh, an employee a premium to do a job that they would have done anyway? It's not like if you can't run. If you're an athlete, you got to run somewhere, except for Sid, of course. But we're gonna leave out the exceptions. So saying that you're running a league, but you're taking this money and you're not investing it into your own production capacity. You're paying a service, a very good service though, to produce your video. You're paying event management. You're paying social media management. What are you doing? What are you doing? You understand? So you're entering a room to ask for money as a kind of conduit for all of these service people. What makes your business unique? Okay, so when we saw it, first thing they did was they spent money on the track in Jamaica. I didn't like the track. It didn't. It looked a little overdone, a little overdone. But you know what? It got the job done. How much money they spent on that? From the first day, I asking you, wait. I just give you $30 million. That's what you do with my money? It didn't make sense to me how they started. And from there, and my very good colleague, Rashid Parchment over there at the Jamaica Observer, he was one of the media covering the Jamaica opening of Grand Slam track. And he said, in no uncertain terms, it was the best event he's ever attended globally across any sport. So I said to him, okay, did that encourage you to put two back pages in the papers instead of one? How does it work? You understand? It just did not make sense as an investment. It did
Is
not
it
make
is
sense
it that
as a
we
business.
Dennis, is it that we needed to give him more time? Is it that we're too impatient with, I mean, when you're starting a business or a brand or whatever, it is not going to, the profit is not going to come the same time. We know that it takes a while.
I agree.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I have been to the World Championship and I've been to other sporting events. And I'm going to be honest with you. The Grand Slam is one of the best track and field events that I have gone to because of how involved the fans were. He made sure, Michael ensured that the athletes and the fans and everybody who was involved were happy. It was like a carnival, and I see what he was doing. And yeah, it did not work, but I think we still need to give him some credit for that effort because track and field is one of the lowest paid sport, and I think there is money out there. We just need to find a way to tap into that money the same way the NFL can do it, basketball can do it, tennis, rugby, these other sports that are way ahead of us. And when you look at track and field at the Olympic Games, the track and field segment is one of the biggest segments or at the Olympic Games. So why, and I ask the question again, why is track and field so poor? Why are we not tapping into all that money that is going around in football, as some people call it soccer, the NFL, and all these other sports? Why is it that track and field athletes are still struggling at the end of a period? At the end of a period, the NFL players can boast how much $1 million. Football players in Europe, in the English Premier League, and all the leagues can boast how much £1 million. Why is it that track and field? Why is it so bad that Michael wanted to do that for track and field?
And I don't disagree with what you're saying, you know. I do believe that there is money out there, but I also, unfortunately, I also believe that what happened with Grand Slam track is going to make um, investors very cautious, very skittish, as a matter of fact. Um, I don't think, based on what we saw, I don't think 30 million was enough, maybe 50. But the way, like you said, you know, are you doing a startup? Michael did not present Grand Slam track as a startup. You understand? So he presented it as a fully polished machine moving in. Now I can tell you, I have seen firsthand where budgets, realities, and aspirations never align. They never mesh. And I can tell you, it is one of the most depressing things to see everything going right, but the money run out.
Yeah.
I can tell you, right?
Mhm.
But what is the lasting legacy of Grand Slam track? If you go on the internet, you go on social media, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, the numbers just never added up. And this is a league that never had a broadcast deal. You know who has a broadcast deal? Champs. Champs has a broadcast deal. So they have a vested interest in creating those images, curating those images, and presenting those images in such a way that the fans not just watch it on the day, but they share it amongst themselves. And that evergreen content is going to be there for the rest of your life and for the rest of civilization once we could access a YouTube or some other video service. When you go to where are the clips of Grand Slam track, where no knock on Sid, but Sid was the highest paid athlete in that league, and she was not sharing the content. So you're investing in this lead golden goat, greatest of all time, and she is not sharing.
But shouldn't that be a part of the deal, though, where these athletes that you're paid the big money, you ensure that their team is sharing with
I
their
thought
fan
it would have
base?
been, right? I thought it would have been. And what I always tell people is you can't make assumptions. And I don't know, I did not see a contract between these two parties. So I don't know if it is that they paid her enough to share. You understand? Because if you look at her platforms, she does not do that type of content. She did a video series. She brought in a videographer. It was scripted. It was beautifully shot. It was cinema. That's Sid's brand. You know, doing fly by night pop ups, that's not her brand. So it might very well be that she said, hey, I would do it if you do this. And where was the investment? Maybe they decided another way. I'm just making guesses here. I
Yeah,
don't
I
have
do, I
information.
do get it. I do get it. But
But
it,
it didn't make any sense. Look at when um the guy who I just would not call his name, the fastest man in the world, when he started talking about the reasons why he's not going to perform there and he's not going to compete in the league. You started to see the reasoning, it just wasn't making sense to him, right? There were other very big names who stayed away. Now, I am very glad when you see Jareem was there and he won. He got some money in there, and I hope he got paid. Even if he got 50 cents on a dollar, you still get a good piece of money, right? And the athletes, they were able to stay focused. They were able to eliminate the unnecessary events that they had to compete in, and
mm-hmm.
they were sharp for every event. That is perfect. It also shows how unsustainable that business model is. If you don't have a B league, if you don't have a C league, right, you can't just rely only on 8 lanes. You can't. It is too expensive. In track and field, you have to have a system where you put some A, B, and C together. And yes, it's going to be a more predictable outcome. But like if you look at the Diamond League, it spreads out. If you look at the Continental Tour, it spreads out. Now, those events are not interesting to anybody who is not even a casual fan. If you're a hardcore fan, you will know about, let's say, a bronze, a continental tour bronze meet somewhere in Uzbekistan, whatever the case. You would hear about that because we go in and look for that. One of our Trini running there, we'd want to put that, and I would put that on my platform. I'm sure you would discuss that if they did well as well. But without those events, you can't have the top events because the money comes from a long term. There's not enough from 4 events to make that kind of collective impact to really push that event into the minds of the general public. So it stayed circling among the track fans. Yes, there were a lot of youth, but there are youth who are within the orbit of track fans, right? It wasn't like, okay, Anson Complex. In a lot of ways, it feels like if it's a training venue. No disrespect to the place. It's a beautiful facility,
Yeah.
but it's not Oregon. You know what I mean? It's not the Coliseum. It's not that stadium in London. It's not Beijing. It's not the Bird Nest. These are things that the general public are expecting. Could you imagine a Champions League final in a high school track, or a track where high schoolers just play football? It just don't make
It would
sense.
not make sense.
It won't make sense. You need San Siro, you need Wembley, you need the Bernabeu, you need 150,000 screaming fans. That's spectacle. So yes, Michael Johnson and his people got it right on certain levels, got it beautifully right.
Yeah.
But the business wasn't there, the broadcast wasn't there, and the money just wasn't enough.
I would love for him to get it sorted out and it comes back because to me the only problem I had with it, one of the problem I had was that I think the 3 days was too much. 2 days, it could have been held over 2 days because you're doing two races. So you will run one race today and you come back on Saturday or Sunday and run the other race. But I would love to see that come back. I think that was even though it wasn't able to finish with a bang. I still think it was one of the top moments for 20 2025.
I agree completely. It
Yeah,
was. It
yeah,
was beautiful to look at. It
yeah,
was well put together. Let me tell you, as a media and broadcast professional, I was very impressed.
yeah.
They
Me
put in the
too.
work. It looked beautiful. The images were beautiful. They
Indeed.
just
I would
let
love
the
for him
rest.
to get it back to to come back, but I don't know.
I
I'm
don't
just
think
not
he's going to be
happy.
able to do that. I think his
I'm
reputation is destroyed.
I'm I feel for him how he was
I do.
treated. I think we could have treated him a little better because it was really a very good effort. It was a very, very good effort, but it is about what you do on the day for a lot of people. Let us talk about the enhanced games.
E plus. Wow.
Your thoughts on the enhanced games.
You know, let me draw our viewers' attention back to Beijing 2008 Olympics. Everybody remembers Usain Bolt winning his first gold medal. Everybody remembers this. Right next to the guy was Richard Thompson, Trinidad and Tobago athlete. We had two lanes in that final, and Richard Thompson was second.
Yes,
Not
sir.
not any recalculation second. Not to disrespect anybody who has
I
a
know.
medal from that kind of thing,
Yes. Yeah.
but he ran, and if you look at the final frames, maybe the final second and a half, there was only Usain Bolt in that frame. And Richard was less than 3% slower, less than 3% slower than Usain Bolt. It means that if you do your calculations, if you're an elite runner and you increase your performance by the 3 to 5% on the men's side, that a properly managed chemical performance enhancement regime is supposed to give you, you're talking about a 9.4. A sub 10 runner is going to run a 9.4. That's what you're talking about there. On the women's side, it could be even greater, right? So I know there is a female Jamaican athlete who is going to be participating. Now, the funny thing is, they've all said that they don't have to take any dope. They don't have to take any PEDs. They don't have to. It's basically just you're not going to be tested.
Yeah, that's the bottom
That's what
line.
they're
That's the
saying.
bottom line. They're not going to be following the protocols of anti-doping water.
Right.
That's the
Now,
only
the funny
thing.
thing is, well, I shouldn't say the funny thing. The ironic thing of it is, whether you dope or not, you're going to be sanctioned because you're participating in an unsanctioned event. So you're going to be you're going to be penalized in some way. So logistically, are you going to risk your career and not win it or not attempt to win it? You gotta take something. You gotta take something. Because it means that if you come in with a 9-9 and the kid next to you is running a 9-5, what are you even doing there? You're not going to be in the frame. So you would have just given up your career for basically nothing because you debate the live bait here is
It's
that
to win.
$1 million prize,
It's to win.
right? You can't go to a E plus games and not win. What are you crazy? No. So for me, when I look at the kinds Bracy,
The
Curly,
candidates, yeah.
could you imagine a Curly on dope? That kid gonna be so, his
But
eyes gonna
why
be
do
like
you
that
but why do you have to take something though? They're saying you don't have to.
for to win that. No,
You can come as you are, come clean. We don't
no, you
care.
got
But
lean.
the only thing they're saying is that we are not going to test you.
No, you gotta be on some hardcore crank to win that event.
I don't know, Dennis. I don't
I,
know.
okay, so look at it like this. What's Curly's fastest? What, 9-7 or something? What's
Hmm.
Gracie's fastest? Somewhere around the same place? Okay. If you come in there at peak and run a 9-7, right? A college kid who's capable of anything sub 10 is going to run 9-5 on dope. That's just the reality. That's
Hmm.
why we don't dope. That's
Yeah.
why WADA exists to
Yes.
stop people from running these ridiculous times and then dropping dead at the end of the track. So yes, they're saying that you're going to have supervised medical care, and yes, and I think that anybody who's doping, they're doing that. Otherwise, they're going to get A, busted, or B, they're going to get very, very, very sick. They're going to get
How
hurt.
how will this impact these athletes that are in? I've seen Curly, Bracy, other athletes, including the Jamaican Shakora Wallace. Well, in her video, she said that she's retired. She said she's a retired athlete.
Hmm. Hmm.
I was a little shocked when I saw that she was retired because she came on the scene not so long ago.
What's her
So
PR?
so to hear her saying that she is, I can check it for you. To hear her saying
Sure,
that
sure.
she's a retired Jamaican athlete, I was like, okay, so you're retired. So is it that their career in the real sport doesn't matter anymore?
No, I don't think so. Like, okay, look at that. Let's examine Fred Curley. When is he going to come off a ban? He's not going to have enough time to
He got
qualify.
what, 2 years?
Yeah, he's not going to have enough time to qualify for Tokyo. And then how old is he going to be? You know, he's going to what? Look for 2032. I don't think that is realistic, right? Bracy, I don't even know how much of a risk his career is at right now. But where is he going to be? And you have to remember that these are guys who had to compete together lane in the final, and they had to compete together a USA kit, right? The
Hmm.
USA is a very deep, 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 deep selection for any event, but especially the 100-meter, especially the short sprints, especially the 400. So if you have a situation where you are surrendering the rest of your eligibility and the rest of your career to go after this $1 million, if you think that you can go and beat somebody with a 9-7 in the E plus games, then I mean, I have never doped, but I've done enough homework on YouTube that I have a YouTube degree in doping that I can tell you if a college kid could run a 9-7 without dope, he could run a 9-4 with proper supervised dope. It's just that, right?
I guess
Um,
go
Uh,
ahead, go ahead, go
yeah,
ahead.
and on the women's side, it's going to be even crazier. No, I haven't seen anybody else on the women's let's call it the short sprint. Let's say if it's 100, I don't see anybody who has a sub 11 time made a commitment to E plus as yet.
That's true. That's true.
So
Yeah.
are you going to be able to, dust off the spikes and polish it up? And because she's never been suspended, has she? Right? She's a retired athlete, so she can train. She could go and train with Mills and Frano or what was it, Shiniki?
Shanika
Right?
Osborne. Yes.
Right. She could go
Yeah.
and say, hey, you know what? I'm trying to run for this thing, but I want to do it clean. And yeah, so although I'm in that, you know, you could have me pee in a cup every day and I will organize myself. I'll pay for my own doping or whatever it is, just to make sure that you are protecting your athletes from the taint of me being a part of your program. And I honestly think that she can have a really good chance at, even if she runs a low 11, she would be.
Her personal best is 11.09 and she's 32.
If she runs anywhere near her PB, she can do really well. But if she gets a 5%, and with women, especially testosterone, when you do hormonal manipulation, you are going to get an even greater performance benefit. And remember, these people can take this up to the morning. You drink a cup of coffee, some very good Blue Mountain, yum, 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 and you take a shot and you're good and you're going. Because nobody's tested.
Objectivity is saying Mills Frana would not touch her. So I guess I understand. But she was at MVP before. That's where she started her career. At
Right.
MVP with Frana. That's where she was. But we will see. It is
It
coming.
will be
So
interesting. I
it's
will
going to
watch
be
it
very
on
interesting. Yeah.
bootleg cable. I'm not going to
Yeah.
pay to see it.
Yeah.
Whatever
Let us
happens, whatever lands on TikTok, I'll watch that.
yeah, I'll just watch the clips or the
Yeah,
snippets
yeah. I'm not going
and
to
stuff.
see. The
Yeah.
thing is, I can't endorse that.
Yeah, I
I
can't
can't
either.
endorse
Yeah.
that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
curious. In
Yeah.
Trinidad, we call it macoing. I want to maco it, but am I going to pay my money to see what? No, I'm not. I'm not going
Yeah,
to endorse that
I'm
one.
curious to see how it will unfold. But let us talk about the next big thing is athletes switching allegiance. Of course, in 2025, Jamaica had the whole world of track and field talking about us. That was another moment for 2025. We had some top athletes, medalists from the Olympic Games in 2024, switching allegiance to other countries. Jamaica wasn't the only country. We had Nigerian athlete also
Ava Ofi.
switching. Yeah, but is that something we can control though? If we're not looking after, if we're not helping these athletes at the end of the day, if we're not helping them, can we prevent them from moving on?
Um, Short answer is no.
Nobody's giving them anything at the end of the day, at the end of their career. Nobody's helping them to pay their bills, to take care of their children, that kind of thing. So, what are they supposed to do?
Look,
I
look at
understand loyalty, but the bills.
look at the West Indies cricket, right? You have players, they would make one or two appearances and then they'll get an IPL contract, right? And the IPL contract is worth more than 2 years of the retainer contract as a C retainer contract on the West Indies team. What do you do? Do you say, give me the money and I'm gonna drive off with a Range Rover? Or do you say, nah, I'm gonna stick to this flag, a flag of an imaginary nation that does not pay me anywhere near? The difference is in Jamaica, what did we say at the top of this program? 3 lanes.
Three
We got three
lanes.
lanes.
You have 10 people and only three lanes. 10
Somebody's
women.
gonna say, hey, you know what?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's make them an offer they can't refuse. And I've spoken to Trinidad and Tobago athletes who have also told me that they've been approached before. One athlete in particular, a 100-meter hurdler, she had been approached very early in her career, and she was so disappointed with her treatment from the association that she gave it very, very high consideration. And it's something that I think that in Jamaica, you all have, like I said before, you all have uh, an embarrassment of riches.
We are
You have people
blessed.
who have real money. Those Gulf states, they are, people call it sports washing, but I don't think it's strictly that. I think that there are other ways that they can make more money. They're creating a visual, and they're willing to invest in that in a way that not a lot of people. I mean, Jamaica doesn't have billions of barrel of oil that we know about, right? At least
Right.
nobody told me. So where are
Right.
they going to get? Where is Jamaica going to get any money to be competitive with somebody who is willing to and prepared to give you a million and a half dollars each year
No, but the thing is, in
just to switch?
but Dennis, athletes want to be loyal to their country. They don't want a bag of money. They don't want millions of dollars. They just need a little help. You have to, it's like you have your wife and you're not taking care of her. What you think is going to happen after a while?
You're
You're a
looking for
smart one.
horn boy. That's
There
just
you
right.
go. So if you are not looking after your people, if you're not giving your wife the resources that she needs to care for your children, to pay the bills around the house and all of those things, after a while she's going to go and look it elsewhere. It's just a reality because we need to survive. So I don't think our athletes are looking for millions of dollars because we've had a host of athletes who did not switch. They stayed there. When you look at our athletes between the 1940s and even the 1990s, when I talk to some of them, they have gone hungry to compete for the country and they did not switch. So they just need a little bit to help them. They don't want a
Some
lot.
Something I was telling a friend of mine. He's a cricket journalist, Colin. Um, do Jamaicans still play the anthem before a cinema show?
I have not gone to the Jamaican cinema in over maybe 9, 10 years, but when I used to go, the anthem was always played
And people
before.
stand, right?
And people stand, we would stand for the
Try
national
that
anthem.
in Trinidad. Try that. People chips and walk out that cinema.
What?
Jamaican patriotism is a unique brand of patriotism. And you're right, it has nothing to do with the money. It is to do with the pride. Jamaica as a society has built that patriotism as part of the fabric of the society. We here in the Caribbean, we look at you guys, we look at that raw pride as something, and it is a benchmark for Caribbean pride. But the reality of it is, what happened 10, 20, maybe even more years ago, it's not happening now. The world has changed, right? You can't be saying, I am running for pride, and then I look around and I hear some kind of scandal with somebody and they driving past me in some brand new Mercedes. Or, look at what happened with Usain Bolt's investment, right? Reputable company, where the money going? Why is it taking so long for him to get it back? You would think that someone with such high level of respect globally, somebody who is a marquee for your brand Jamaica, should be treated better than that. You
True.
would think that the feds, the federalists would be right there knocking. What is you saying? Tell me who do it. Tell me who take that money, boy. And you're just not seeing it. What does that say to you? It says to you that I will never get you saying money. But the little piece of money that I have, when I get, what happens to me? Somebody could bust my throat and take my thing, my little piece of thing. Nah, so let me go somewhere and I could maybe have a new life. That conversation cannot hinge only on patriotism. You cannot use your only riposte is that patriotism. Remember what I said? Patriot. No. At some point in time, you have to have respect. You have to have a life after you've run really, really fast, a life after you've made these sacrifices. Track and field is 8 months of work
Yes.
for less than that for a typical Jamaican for less than 10 seconds, less than 11 seconds, less than 20 seconds, less than 50 seconds, right? If you add up every single racer, Usain Bolt, Shalian, Elaine, um, any one of the top 20 athletes of the past 10 years, you don't have a 10-minute video. When you start to think of what it means to do what you do there and you don't get that money for it, it's not like you're saying, I want to get NBA money. I just want to get the kind of money that would make my life
Just
comfortable,
need something. Yep. I agree. Yeah.
you know?
Hmm.
And that is not, I'm not knocking the Jamaica Association because I don't know what their realities are, right? I can tell you that you'll have more athletes than anybody else.
But Dennis, support is not just money, you know. Support is not
You
just
know what is
money.
good about Jamaica? Y'all do insurance?
Hmm.
Yeah, we don't do that here. We don't have that.
You, you know?
No, or at least don't have that.
Yeah,
If
our
if something
athletes
happened
do
to you,
have.
let's say you twist your ankle, you gotta go in general hospital. No respect, no disrespect to the hard working medical professionals in the hospitals and healthcare system in Trinidad and Tobago. But Trinidad nice, don't get sick.
Yeah.
If you have to sign up for uh public surgery through the ministry, that could take years. If you have an ACL rupture or some kind of thing like that, or let's say you have to get some kind of knee or ankle surgery, major surgery, um, that could be 3, 4 years on a wait list.
Wow. Wow.
You
In
understand?
Jamaica, our athletes do. Once you compete for the country, you automatically gets your health insurance. They do have that for them. That I can
So,
tell you.
so exactly. So where
Yeah.
the system is supporting the athletes is a pain point that somebody else looking in might say, okay, patriotism and insurance, that might be enough. I will give it a shot, right? The other thing is that we have to look at the policy and the leadership in world athletics. If they're going to allow that switch to take place within the confines of an Olympic cycle, it means that you can tempt more people. Like other sports, like table tennis, for instance, the wait list for you to switch is, I think, what, 8 years or maybe even more. That means your whole career. Remember we talked about Kishon? You
Yes.
got four. You got four Olympic cycles. Three is normal. Two,
Hmm.
two. If you go to two Olympics as an athlete, you happy. You
And
happy.
Jamaica, in Jamaica, we have athletes going 5 times, 6 times,
There you go.
six
Right.
times. Merlin Otti, 6 times. That's the
Amazing
record.
athlete too, huh?
A matter of fact, 7 times, 6 times for Jamaica,
And one for
one
Slovenia.
time for Slovenia. Yeah, so
Yeah.
she has the record for that. But we have other athletes
There's a
who have gone five.
Jamaican who does she's a brakeman for woman bobsled. What's her name?
Yes, we do have
Tristina.
women.
What's her name?
Christania Williams. We have
Christania Williams.
Christania Williams. We
Did
have
she also switch?
Carrie Russell. I don't know if she switched. I think she is in Austria doing bobsled, but I don't know
I
if
think she
she.
switched.
I'm
I,
not sure what the switch was about. If it was for track and field, if it was for bobsled, I'm not even sure.
no, well,
But
you have to switch. You have to
I
switch
know there
forward.
was some switching.
Yeah, you can't represent in
Did
one
she
sport and then
switch
switch
or
a flag.
she's
I
there
think it's I think she's
training?
on a flag. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
something that you could check there.
yeah, I can check
Or maybe
that
the
out.
fans, while you all watching, you all could jump in and
Yes,
tell us
people,
about it.
all in the game, objectivity. Please to check for me. Did Christania Williams switch allegiance? Christania Williams, formerly of Edwin Allen, she's also an Olympic silver medalist for Jamaica, the 2016 Olympic Games. Please check that for me. Thank you very much. But you're right. It support is not just the physical money. There's so much, and I remember when I heard Otter said that he thinks that Elaine maybe overestimated her value, and I tried to do a budget for to have an idea of an athlete budget to condition themselves to be able to compete and win at the highest level. And Dennis, let me tell you something, it is not cheap
No,
to
no,
pay
no, no,
your
no, no.
coach, nutrition. Let me tell you, Dennis, I am managing an athlete, a high jumper, and I did not know that it was that expensive. When you talk about transportation, you talk about paying coach, you talk about nutrition, you talk about physiotherapy, you talk about gym. It is ridiculously expensive. I
Yeah,
don't know how these athletes do it.
yeah. A typical 1 hour session, not a reparative, not a restorative, not a medical intervention, just a regular rub from a qualified physiotherapist. You're talking about a 1 hour rub, you're talking at least $50 US.
It's
At
crazy.
least.
Yep. Yep.
And you need that like 3 days a week for your basic level athlete.
It's
For somebody
not
with like
cheap.
specific problems that, let's say you're trying to change your technique, you're going to be running into all kinds of different things. Your disc going to it start to hurt you. You need more. Sometimes you need a warm up and
It
a
is.
warm down.
It
So
is
you're talking about
expensive.
at least $100 a day, 3 days, 4 days a week.
It is expensive, and let me tell you, if athletes should put a budget together, dollar for dollar for everything, I guarantee you that the money that they're earning in their contract is not enough to cover a year's, just for a year,
And
just for a
another
year.
thing that I've said about track and field athletes as well is that they themselves have signed these contracts. You sign a shoe contract, but you have to wear clothes. You have to
Yes.
wear the warm up shoes. You also have to wear, you cannot wear athleisure, athletic leisure wear from another, but you have to wear theirs, but they're not paying you for that.
But they're not paying you for that. I've seen that. I have seen
Crazy,
that
right?
where, yeah, I've seen that.
And you can't. Does Elaine have a shoe? I know Shelly has a shoe with her name
Yeah,
on it, but is
Shell,
it a Shelly
Elaine.
shoe?
Yeah, I think Elaine is
No,
with Puma. Elaine has been with
no, no, no,
Puma.
no. I mean, is there? Can I go in a store anywhere in the world and
Oh,
pick up a Elaine Thompson shoe?
no, no.
That's what Atto is talking about when
Yeah,
he's calculating the value of an
yeah.
athlete, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, when you look at an Elaine, right? Let me use an example. The Rio Olympics, peak Usain Bolt. If you were in the USA or you used a US IP address and you tried to log into the puma.com, there was no Usain Bolt front page during the Olympics. So think about it. Your biggest event in the world is taking place. Your biggest market, single market in the world, and your biggest athlete in that biggest event is not the front page of your website. And this is something, you know, when you look at what has happened, and let me use another example with Naomi Osaka. Naomi Osaka has her Naomi Osaka NO collaboration with Nike, kind of like what Rihanna does with Fenty and Puma. Um, and that collab is what she wore each new day of the US Open. She wore a new colorway. She had a Labubu doll with bejeweled Labubu doll. And each time you see she's doing her walk on, These cameras are focused on her labubu, focused on her outfit, focused on her shoes. Naomi Osaka can't pay for that, but she's selling out these collabs, right?
Yes.
When
Hmm.
you look at in the luxury brand world, they're doing small runs, 200, 400 pairs of collabs, pre-order, very exclusive. You don't need a top signature shoe. You don't need to be the next Michael Jordan jumpman. You don't need to be the next LeBron billionaire sportsman. You just need to be able to command your own space and
Hmm.
put a credible product out there to your supporting base, your fans. And I don't think enough athletes
Is there any
understand
track
that.
and field? Is there any track and field athlete that has anything like that? I cannot think of
I
any.
can't see, I mean, like, you would think that a Shakari would be the person who would be leading that kind of thing, right? But yet, look at who has a shoe. Allison Felix. Um, who else has a shoe? What's his name?
Who?
New Balance is behind a Sid. But when you go to the store with your eager, bright-eyed child, are they trying to buy those things? No. You know what they're still running down? They're still running down Jordans
Jordans, yeah.
from 40 years ago.
Hmm.
That's the craziest thing.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. But I don't think that track and field has done enough. Like, I mean, I'm going to call his name. I remember there were, now Noah Lyles has been an Adidas athlete for how much of, I think he's always been since he started his professional career. I remember one time there was an Adidas street race. They used to do the Adidas Boost Festival, right? So they're doing the street race. And he's talking about a pair of socks, right? And he pulls out this socks, and it's a Manchester United socks. And in my mind, how much is a pair of socks? How much to say, hey, Adidas, design me a pair of socks, put my name on it, I pay for the run. Take it out of my money and let me sell it. And I walk around with a bag and I say, hey, you want to buy some socks?
Hmm.
Where's the shame? You know, shame
Yeah.
in that. That's your socks with your name on it, your face on it.
Of course. I mean,
You know what I
you
mean?
we've seen Cardi B gone out on the streets in New York to promote her
There you go,
to
right?
sell her CD. I mean, Cardi B
Right.
have more money than anybody else, and she just got out and said, "Look, I'm selling my album."
Riri had everybody wearing them fuzzy, crazy fuzzy Puma slippers. Everybody. And I'm like, when last Riri drop an album? It doesn't matter
When was the last
because
time
she ain't
Riri dropped a
Riri.
song? Indeed, very good question.
You know what I
And
mean? Fenty, I don't
yeah,
know any adult woman who going out and who trying to look good who don't have at least 2 or 3 Fenty products in her closet.
yes, yeah,
You
that's
know what I
true.
mean?
Yeah,
Not even
that's
the
true.
Fenty
That's true.
Sauvage, my lingerie.
Yeah.
I'm not
Hmm.
even talking about that. I'm talking
Yeah.
about the makeup. So when you see what artists are doing in music, in culture, in
Hmm.
film,
Yeah.
in other sports, why aren't athletes in track and field investing in their own
Hmm.
brand,
Hmm.
in their own fame, in their own career that can last after that last race? I don't
You
see it.
know what?
I just don't see it.
I've been trying to find a Usain Bolt t-shirt to buy. A
I
Usain Bolt
remember that
t-shirt.
that shirt,
Yes,
yeah.
that shirt. I've been trying to find one and I cannot find it anywhere. I don't know if I'm not looking at the right place. Usain Bolt had a cap with his initials on it, which I think was so cute. The U and the B. Cannot find them anywhere. Those things
Right.
should be on the market. I'm sure people will be scraping them off because it is so neat. I'm not sure if it was Puma or who did it, but it was a black cap. I don't know, maybe it
I
was
remember
done
the thing. I remember the
specifically.
thing.
Maybe it was done specifically for him, but it has UB and it looks so good. When I tell you, look, the cap looks so good, almost like the New York
Yes.
cap. Look at the New York cap. Look
There you
at the
go.
cap that has NY on it.
The Yankees cap. The Yankees
Yeah.
star cap. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't know, but as all in the game is saying, nothing will truly change until athletes finally get together and form a union to collectively bargain for better pay and better conditions. And thank you very much for that, all in the game. I totally agree.
You know,
They need a body. There need to be a body. One person cannot do it anymore. And you kept saying, we have to collaborate. Look at you and I here tonight, collaborating to do this. I couldn't do it all by myself. I wouldn't want to do it all by myself because I
right,
want other perspective. And I call on you, my neighbor, and you said, yes, let's do it. So
of
that's
course.
what we have to do. We have to bring the brands together in order to get them out there. But the last topic, and then we are out of here. World Athletics rules updates. Let us talk about the controversial testing that the women had to do last season if they wanted to
Gender
compete.
proof.
Yes. One Jamaican female was not able to compete because she did not do the test. This test, why is biology not enough to determine male or female? Why do I have to go through this test to prove that I'm a woman with the woman parts?
It comes back down to the same. Um, what apparently it's pronounced eligibility, right?
Yes.
LGBTQ, right?
Hmm.
So the eligibility uh, proponent of international sports, everybody should understand that there is no M or female in LGBTQ. It means that they have created a brand, a position that excludes male and female, what they call cisgender. I don't even know what all of this means. But it also includes people who have DSD, differences in sexual development.
Yeah.
Castasemania is the poster child of DSD. Those two, is it Botswana and Boma and the next one?
Yes. Emboma.
They
Yes.
they are they have been singled out for very special types of attention. While if they were on the other side, if they were a man converting to a woman, their pathway will be smooth like Diddy grease, right? Why is it that being a woman and being born a woman or being born a man isn't good enough? And that proof that I have many friends who are doctors. They're in there, and one who's one of the top OBGNs in the country. And she is my second son. She's the doctor that delivered him. And when he was born, she was quite happy to put down male at birth. Am I to second guess her credentials that she didn't know what she was putting down there? Is it that she has to go into my son to investigate and take a ultrasound or an MRI, a CAT scan, a puppy scan, or whatever it is to go and see what's going on inside of my child to say before she could write that down? Or maybe she could only put that M or F or some other thing when that child is what, 18, 19, and they've come into their sexual maturity as an adult human. What are we even talking about? The woman is a woman. If she's competing as a woman for a home federation, then she's a woman. If she was a man from before and you're now allowing her to compete as a woman, then what's the problem with a birth woman? I just don't get it,
Yeah.
right? But I'm also old and I live in a world where I want to protect my sexuality as well. I want to protect my lifestyle as well. And I am a heterosexual man with 4 children and a soon to be wife, Renee. I think she was on this
Good
chat.
night, Renee.
And I'm just saying that, you know what? I I not only celebrate, I cherish the difference between the sexes. I don't want to have a spectrum. I want to be with someone who is a woman and who identifies as a woman. So when I see international global federations coming into the picture to try to dictate what that means, I find that that is so disingenuous and so misleading. And to deny an athlete an opportunity to compete as a woman, although they have competed in their own home federation as a woman, that there's a discontinuity of policy that needs to be addressed. And probably we need to call people like my good friend Dr. Amir Crown to have those things examined at the highest level of magnification. Because what are we doing? You know what I mean? What are we doing? Is either it's a man or a woman. And if you're saying that there are going to be these other spectrum designations, okay, just the same way World Athletics has a men's list and a women's list,
Mm-hmm.
then put another list for L, G, B, T, Q, I, whatever else you want to put, and
I
put
agree.
that there and let those people run against those people who identify as those letters. Otherwise, leave the people who want to be male and leave the people who want to be female because they were born that way and they're happy to stay so. Leave it that way. Because
It-
even if you are male and you are one of the other letters, but you identify as male in your passport, your driver's permit, your ID card, okay, cool. Yeah, man. You could
yeah,
say you identify as whatever it is, you know. But when you put on them spikes, it's men in the other lanes,
yeah. It is
not
said
true for
that this
women.
it is said that this policy is intended to reinforce fairness and competitive integrity. That's the bottom line in women's sports.
On one hand, you're saying your policy is protecting women, right? Birth women. And then on the other side, you're spending money to go all the way to CAS to fight a woman who is born a woman,
A woman,
who
yes,
who everybody has said, hey, I see the thing is a woman.
is a
What
woman.
happens
Yeah,
inside your body and your chromosomes and all of this thing? Yes, your chromosomes determine what your gender is going to be, what your sex is going to be. But if you're telling me that she did the chromosomal testing and it was still indeterminate, she did all of those other things. And it's still, then what are you trying to do to the woman? It's a woman. Leave it at that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All these changes, 2025 was really a year of a lot of things. We've seen a lot of things. I mean, there are even more, but we're 2 hours up, but Dennis, it
One thing
was,
I wanted to talk about long jump. What do you
yes.
think of that shift in the line thing?
Ah, I have not paid much attention to it. I've heard about it. I'm not sure. What is the final result though? What are they saying? They're going to remove it?
They're going to remove the line, and wherever you jump from, and you measure it from there. They
You
have the
know,
technology to do it,
you know
right?
something? A former Jamaican long jumper, and I'm going to call her name, Giovanni Jarrett. She and I had this conversation, and she was saying the same thing, that she think they should just get that thing out of the way and let you jump, and wherever you jump to, you just measure it. You just do the measurement, and that is your measurement. But I'm not sure if they decided on it, or it is still up in the air.
For me, no, I think they were testing it. I'm not
Mhm.
sure if they're going to allow it for major competition this season. I think it's supposed to be though. But
Okay.
here's what I was saying, right? Just don't disallow the jumps. So you went over the board, minus that. Measure from the board.
So
That
measure
that
from the
that was my
board
solution.
into, yeah,
So if you went there, you put a foot over the board, whatever it is, you're still measuring from the board, and you're just taking off that extra that you went over. You take off that.
right. Wherever you
So you're
went
not
over,
disallowing the jump for
yes,
stepping
you
over.
you measure from there. It is going to be very interesting to see how they settle on that one. All in the game is saying I like the new World Athletic rule of getting rid of swapping out all four athletes in the relays between semi and final. They are now going to swap out two, only two athletes will know, because I mean, I guess they're trying to make it fair, because if you have countries, like certain countries, that can swap out all four people and bring in fresh legs against a team that all four of them ran in the semi and then they have to come back for the final, I guess it is just to make it fair for everybody. So now it is just two for the 4x4. So that is going to be very um, interesting to
No,
see.
no, I'm one of the national selectors here for Trinidad and Tobago track and field, right?
Okay.
And I've been on that selection committee for two, two, not 1.5 Olympic cycles, and this is my second trip here. So we would love to have that problem. We would love to have the problem of finding the airfare and accommodation and sponsorship money to come and send 8 people for a 400-meter relay. So we can
Really?
ease up Jerem a little bit and just use Jerem in the final. Yeah, we would love that. But that's
Yeah.
just not a reality for most countries.
Yeah,
I
that's true.
guess what they're saying is they're trying to even
Yes.
the playing field,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess that makes sense. I
Yeah.
don't disagree with it, but honestly, I don't think quite a few. Excuse me. I
Bless
don't
you.
think I don't think more than about 2 or 3 countries have that problem. Jamaica
Yeah.
being one of them.
Jamaica and the US and maybe Canada, Great Britain might
Yeah.
be.
Not even Great Britain.
Not even Great Britain. Not even Great
They're
Britain.
defunding you if you can't make
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first four.
Jamaica and the US would be able to change out three if they wanted to, up to
Yeah,
maybe
and
three or four.
any law or rules that target only a select few is bad law.
Yeah,
That's just how it is.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, but let's see how it goes. But I could get behind that.
Two is good because most times a country like Jamaica will have maybe two people doubling. So you have Sharika and Elaine doubling, for example, and then
Yeah,
to have them run the relay rounds maybe the day of the 200-meter final or the day after, at least you could rest them and then bring them into the final. So I guess two will work for us. Two can
yeah. I
can
think
work.
with World Athletics,
Yeah.
the quota is usually 6 in an event,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So for us, we usually only have 5.
Okay.
But the few times that we've had 6, we've taken 6 athletes. Um, for the 4x4, 4x1. And
Mm-hmm.
I would say this, that the athletes who are number 5 and 6, they get a chance to have that OLY at the end of their surname,
Yes.
and that is a very special privilege, whether
Oh
you ran or did
yes.
not run. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, so a lot of the athletes may be saying, "Hold on, what?" So
I've
I
had
don't know.
I've had athletes. I've spoken to Jamaican athletes who have gone to the Olympic Games for the relay, and to this day they've retired and they are broken that they don't have that OLY because they did not get an opportunity to run. So it is a big deal for a
It
lot
is.
of athletes. I did an interview with one of Jamaica, one of the best hurdler of all time. What's his name? Nehemiah. I think you might know him.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Ronaldo
yeah, 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 yeah.
Nehemiah. I did an interview with him, and he's still broken to this day that he's not an Olympian. And he was one of the best
For
in
sure,
the
for sure,
world.
for sure.
And he did not get to go to the Olympics because 1980, when he was on fire, of course, the USA boycotted that
Yeah,
one going
yeah,
to
yeah.
Russia.
Moscow.
And then he switched to football, won the Super Bowl and stuff. So he told me in an interview that that's one of the things he wished he had accomplished, becoming an Olympian. So it is a big deal. But Dennis, thank you very, very much for being here.
Always a pleasure.
Happy New
Anytime,
Year again,
anytime.
my neighbor. And this was a very informative discussion. Thank you very much for your knowledge. You're very knowledgeable about the sport, the business side of it, the whole. There you go, there you go. Thank you so much for being here. And you stayed for 2 hours.
All the time, all the time.
Thank you.
So
Thank you
thanks for
very
having
much.
me, and to all your fans and listeners, thanks for the support. I hope to be back anytime, anytime. But
Anytime,
I'm
sweetheart.
only a phone
Anytime.
call away.
I
So
know.
y'all take care and thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for being here, family. Thank you. Bye. And there we had it, guys. Dennis, he has become a good friend. I met him through, I'm trying to remember how I met Dennis. Oh my God. It was through a phone call. Somebody just gave me his number and said, call him up, and have a chat with him. And he has been on my platform a few times. But guys, thank you very much for being here, recapping 2025. So much happening in 2025. We really could not have gone through everything, but we've gone through some of the top stories, some of the big ones. The track and field season is already off to a start, especially for the high school. Jamaica College had their championship, their track and field meet just on the weekend, Friday and Saturday, and I've seen some real good early season and performances. So champs will, of course, be champs. But already in 2026, we're getting, some news, and fans, Jamaican fans, are not so happy because we feel like the energy is being sucked from the sport because no Milo Western relay will be on this year. I've been getting news that the Racers Grand Prix will not be on either, and the Gibson relay is downsizing. I'm not sure what the actual schedule will be like, but I heard that it will be finals only. I'm not sure how they're going to do that, and it will be from 4 p.m. until 8:30 p.m. So that full day carnival that we track and field fans used to look forward to will not be happening this year. I don't know what is happening with the sport, but we need to bring back the spirit of the sport. We need to bring back that energy and stuff. So already the year started off. I did not have those on my list because those are 2026 happenings. But yes, the Racers Grand Prix, I get to understand that will not be showcasing 2026. We have not seen the Jamaica Invitational for a while now. The Milo Western Relay is also off the calendar. And as I said before, Gibson Relay is downsizing. So I don't know what is going to happen. The prep school, the basic school, I don't know. It's heartbreaking for a track fan. But guys, thank you very much. Donia Ray Lee, thank you. She's saying having the 100-meter on the same day is pressure for athletes prone to injuries. I totally agree with you on that, Donna. I mean, like for the top women will be running 3 rounds because they will not be running in the preliminary round. So they will have at least 3 rounds, 2 being very explosive, which is the semifinal and the final, and to have all 3 on the same day, I don't know. Sprinters, a lot of people don't realize that sprinters rely on sprinters rely heavily on explosive power from their calf and their ankle for acceleration and speed. And I don't know what kind of result we're going to get, but I think, and I read something, I'm going to share something with you guys. It said the decision was made in coordination with the LA 2028 organizing committee, the International Olympic Committee, which is the IOC, and the broadcast partners like Olympic Broadcasting Service and NBC. Also, it says LA Chief Athlete Officer Janet Evans, a 4-time Olympic gold medalist, also played a role by consulting with athletes and the athletes' representative or commission before finalizing this arrangement. So it seemed to me like the athletes agree to it. That is the impression I am getting. I am not sure, but I hope I will be around to witness this because it is going to be very exciting. It is going to be only the strong survive, they say. And I guess we know we have some coaches in Jamaica when it comes on to preparing athletes for global championships. They are some geniuses. So I'm sure our coaches who will be preparing these women will take this into consideration. But I mean, injuries, I don't know. Will the recovery time be enough? Because they're going to have 2 rounds in the morning and 2 rounds in the evening. So the preliminary, which the Jamaicans are not normally a part of, and the first round will be in the morning session. And then the evening session will be the semifinal and the final, which sometimes is not even 2 hours apart. So this is going to be very interesting. But guys, thank you very much for being here. I really enjoyed your company and all the comments. Everyone, thank you for being here. Thanks to all the athletes who were here, all the Olympians who were here, all the visitors, all the first timers, everyone, thank you very much. And thank you for helping me to do the research back and forth. I think it was all in the game, or it was objectivity that says, based on what they're seeing, Christania Williams has switched to Austria. So another Jamaican athlete that switched. But guys, thank you very much. Nonetheless, they are Jamaicans. We love them just the same. So until next time, thank you guys very much for being here. And thank you for always being so engaging. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend and be kind to someone. Love your neighbors, as the good word say. And I will see you next week. Bye.
Jamaica's track and field legacy is unmatched. It is a story of triumph, resilience, and extraordinary talent. But do you know the stories behind the athletes who brought us glory? Hi, I'm HP, founder of HP Chat Track. My mission is simple: to celebrate the rich legacy of Jamaica track and field and shine a light on the incredible people who make it happen. Winning that race was a dream come true, but the journey wasn't easy. It's not just about medals, it's about inspiring the next generation. Jamaica track and field isn't just a sport, it's our pride, our culture, our heart. Every week I sit down with athletes, coaches and fans to bring you stories of dedication, passion and legacy. Plus, we've got exciting news and exclusive insights into the world of track and field. Make your Thursday night be at HP's place. Come hang out with us at HP Chat Track Studio, where track and field is our business, Jamaica,